Itsuki Nakano is definitively the best quintuplet in the series, the Quintessential Quintuplets. I'm right, you're wrong, thanks for watching.
That's it? That's the
Itsuki video.
That was just a bunch of cheap
JPEGs moving around.
What a rip!
In Captain Karo.
Betrayed us!
Okay, fine, I'll explain myself. Itsuki Nakano is, in my opinion, the objective best quintuplet that we meet in the series, the Quintessential Quintuplets. Don't believe me? Well, I hope you're ready for a long video, because I have the receipts, I have the 4K HD footage, I have everything ready to explain why Itsuki is simply number one. In case you think I'm biased, I don't even think Itsuki is my favorite quintuplet. I think she's probably my third favorite quintuplet, but all the facts come out and say Itsuki's number one, so let's go on and explain why Itsuki is just the best by far. And obviously, spoilers for the Quintessential Quintuplets if you somehow haven't read that masterpiece already, but let's get right into it. Now, why is Itsuki number one? Well, for starters, I believe that she is the only quintuplet whose character never falters for even a moment in this series. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, every quintuplet in this series has a moment, sometimes even more than one, where the character falters a little bit in the writing department, except Itsuki, of course. But where's the proof, you might add? Well, as I said earlier, I brought the receipts. Now, starting with Nino, I'm going to start with it because I think that she is actually the most flawed quintuplet that we meet in the series. You see, after the confession scene, which, don't get me wrong, is amazing, in the scene in the restaurant that follows it is one of my favorite scenes in the series, I really don't think Nino grows and develops as a character, nor does she end the series in a satisfying place. After accepting Futo, what does she really do? She forgives her father for being unable to come to the festival? I mean, sure, that doesn't really change her character at all, nor does it feel satisfying as one of her final major arcs in the series. And where does Nino end up at the end of the series? Sort of in the same place that she started it in, just taking care of her sisters. And I'd say this ending for her character is really underwhelming, but to be honest, any ending would have been, because no ending for her character was ever set out and developed in the series, aside of a throwaway line that Yasuo throws. Honestly, I just feel as if Nino was dealt a bad hand in the writing department. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy her and her character, but I believe that she's just on a far lower pedestal than the other quintuplets in this series. Okay, now that I've got Nino and her flaws out the way, and I assume any Nino fans have left the video by now, let's talk about why that even though she isn't number one, she's still great. Her design is cute, she pushes the plot forward in a very entertaining manner, and has great chemistry with the main cast. But she's still the bottom at the pile of the quintuplets for me. And with everything Nino related finally out the way, let's talk about my favorite quintuplet, Miku Nakano, and why she, unfortunately, isn't as good as Itsuki, no matter how much I love her. But before that, let me say that I love Miku. I love her design, her development, her chemistry, her subtle development and growth. I just love this character so much, and I even made 2 entire videos dedicated specifically to this character. But she has some major issues placed within her character, and one that I'm actually not too particularly okay with. Me, a self-proclaimed Miku simp, having an issue with her character. It's really unfortunate. What is this complaint, you may ask? Well, the complaint being that after the Sisters War arc, where Miku confesses to Futo in one of my favorite scenes in the series, she sort of starts becoming like a lesser Nino in a sense. Now, this can be seen in a lot of scenes throughout the series, but I believe the scene that most evidently portrays this problem is in the water park chapter, where Miku and Nino are practically clones of one another, and honestly, I don't like this route that her character takes. Now don't get me wrong, for the most part, Miku stays true to her character and is still amazing, and I love her nonetheless, but from time to time, every now and then, she acts a little bit like a Nino clone, and it is rather off-putting. Even at the end of the series, she and Nino share the same job as if to tell us directly that they're almost the same character at this point, and I feel like that's very strange for her character to go through. To be perfectly clear though, I do believe that Miku becoming a cook in the way that she does become one in the series is done very, very well, but I feel like the way it's emphasized how similar she is to Nino isn't that great of writing in my opinion, and a reason I really can't see Miku as the best quintuplet in the series. But to clarify once more, she is only very rarely like Nino, and for the most part, Miku is her usual reserved self, and I love it. But there are moments where her character falters and acts too differently for me to be okay with it. I still love her, but this is a flaw I have to bring up. Miku is my favorite, but this just makes her not as good as Itsuki, no matter how much it hurts to say that. And with Miku out of the way, let's talk about my second favorite quintuplet in this series, Yasuo, because I love Yasuo immensely. Yasuo's great. She's fun to read, she's energetic, she has great chemistry with the entire cast, and possibly has even the best arc in the series, that arc being her flashback arc. However, even though she is so great, her character does have some issues that I have to bring up. Let's focus on the main one that I always think of when thinking of Yasuo's character. That being, that her winning Futo sort of messes with her actions and development in the festival arc. In case you forgot, in the festival arc, Yasuo finally moves beyond her past and stops holding on to Futo, giving up on him with the final kiss where he doesn't even know that it's her. This hurts Yasuo immensely, but she does it regardless. To move past him, to become her own person, and move past the regret that she's held on all these years. But then it all becomes pointless when she wins. Huh?
What?
Now don't get me wrong, I think that the way the series is written and plotted out, Yasuo winning is the best path the story could have taken, and I agree with it full-heartedly. But having Yasuo win, just mere chapters after she has already given up, doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I feel like Negi just threw in Yasuo giving up on Futo in the festival arc to sort of conclude her character, but forgot that Yasuo winning already concludes her character in a different way, and now he has two ways her character ends in the exact same story, and this doesn't really bode well with me. So even though I love Yasuo immensely and believe that her winning is the right choice of writing the series should take, her arc in the festival, to me, is a lapse in writing and a reason why she isn't the best quintuplet in the series, and why she simply isn't as good as Itsuki. Now moving on to the final quintuplet we have yet to talk about, let's talk about Ichika. And I have famously been caught on record saying I hate Ichika. And this basically sums up why I hate the character Itsuki Nakano. Fuck her. And that's still true. But I'm willing to concede that Ichika is a great character. Her goals in the series are set at the beginning and she follows through with them. She grows and develops as a character throughout the series, and in all honesty, is really amazing. However, I have an issue with her character, and a piece of writing that I don't necessarily love at all. And I'm sure even a baby could guess what scene I'm talking about when speaking of writing that I don't like about Ichika.
風太郎
なんだ
風太郎教えてあげるねいつか風太郎のこと好きだよすごくお似合いだと思う私応援するね
嘘だろ
嘘じゃないよ
Yeah, I still hate Ichika for this scene. It's absolutely atrocious to come from Ichika. And to do it to Miku? Yeah, there's no way I can say she's the best quintuplet when like this exist. And Cyber comments, I know she grows past this mistake. I know that she's sorry for it, and that she shows with the tennis scene between her and Futo that she's grown past this version of herself that would hurt her own sisters. But I don't care. I believe this choice of writing to be pretty off-putting when I'm reading the series, and not totally consistent with their character. I will always bring it up as criticism towards Ichika whenever I can. And now that we've talked about why Ichika, Nino, Miku, and Yasuo are not perfect in this series, let's talk about why Itsuki is perfect and why she's simply better than the rest. And for starters, one reason why Itsuki's the best is because Itsuki's character never falters in the series. Whether it's during the Scrambled Eggs arc, the Sisters arc, the Festival arc, or even the aftermath of the festival, Itsuki's character is completely consistent with what's been written for her and set out previously in the series. She never becomes a clone or another quintuplet. She never has two endings that conflict with each other. She never is a and she has her path set out for her, unlike Nino does, and she achieves her goals throughout the series. Honestly, I see no issues with how Itsuki is written, whereas it is criminally easy to find issues with the other quintuplets. So easy that even my baby Miku isn't safe from criticism. Itsuki is perfect, and infallible even. Another reason why I believe Itsuki stands above her sisters, and I did slightly go over this in my I Love Itsuki Nakano video way back when, but the reason being how she's written regarding her relationship towards Futaro. Itsuki, unlike her sisters, never falls in love with Futaro in a romantic way, and I really love that kind of writing. In a lesser series like Niseko or Kanjo mo Kanjo, if you're a female character, you fall in love with the main character no matter what. It's as simple as that. Like Shino, Haru, Sugumi, Rika, no matter what, you fall in love with the main character because that's how these series are written. And at first glance, you'd think the same for the Quintessential Quintuplets, but under further inspection, you'd be proven wrong. Unlike her sisters, Itsuki is able to appreciate Futo without offering herself to him. She's able to love him in a non-romantic way, and I love that sort of writing so much more than the "oh, he helped me, so now I like him" kind of writing. And only Itsuki has this platonic kind of writing, and I love that. Sure, you can make the same case for Yasuo and how she kind of gives up on Futo so she doesn't love him anymore, but Yasuo wins, so that's out the window. Yet another reason why I really enjoyed Itsuki as a character and why I believe she is the best quintuplet is how she shows care towards her sisters in the series. And I think the scene that best shows this in the series is that after Futaro chooses Yatsuba, Itsuki feels uneasy in the series. She's nervous, she can't think straight, she's not her usual self, and for a normal series, that would mean that the girl actually likes the main character and that she's just been harboring feelings for him, and now they're being revealed, which is always very out of left field in most series. And in my opinion, just not very good writing in a lot of cases. And for a moment, the story kind of looks like it's going through that sort of bad writing area, where Itsuki actually likes Futaro and she's just been harboring her own feelings. And honestly, it's very scary because that's not really good writing once again, in my opinion. However, we are revealed that Itsuki's inner turmoil isn't towards her feelings regarding Futaro, it's towards her feelings regarding her sisters. Instead of just being upset that Futaro did not choose her like Miku or Nino, or just saying good job to Yatsuba like Ichika does, Itsuki is very concerned about her sisters' well-being and their relationships with one another, and I really enjoy this piece of writing. Not only is this piece of writing very consistent with Itsuki's character trait of loving Futaro in a non-romantic way, but it also shows her love for her sisters and their well-being and their relationships with one another. But so what? Yatsuba cares about her sisters' relationships, so does Ichika and Miku and Nino. But what I like about Itsuki is that it's very subtle. It doesn't spell it out. With Nino and Yatsuba, you know that they care about their sister's relationship. They spell it out. But with Itsuki, it's very subtle, and you have the inference that she was actually worried about her sister's relationships, not her own relationship regarding Futaro. And I think it is an excellent piece of writing around this character. And quite frankly, it's something I had to bring up when talking about Itsuki Nakano and why she is the best quintuplet. And finally, one final aspect that sets Itsuki objectively ahead of her sisters, one final reason why she is in fact the best written quintuplet in this series, is how the writing revolving around Itsuki finding her goal and trying to become someone else that's not her mother and becoming a teacher is simply perfect. I really don't want to go into too many specifics on why this is so perfect, so I thought I'd let someone else do it.
What's your name, kid?
Kurb. Kurb.
That's it? That's the best you got?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
The sum of $3,000 will be paid to the terrifying, the deadly, the amazing
Itsuki Man.
Hi, my name is Kurb, also known as the Itsuki Man for obvious reasons. Now, Sir Mr. Irishman and Captain Koro allowed me to explain to you a big aspect of why Itsuki is by far the best logical girl in QQ, something which I completely agree with. I say a logical girl since, unfortunately, you can't have opinions on which QQ girl is the best, which sucks because who doesn't rate their animes based on Itsuki? Anyways, the thing I want to talk about is how Itsuki Nakano finds her goal in life, that of being a teacher, and also why the decision was made by herself and herself only. Starting off easy with the teacher's talk. After hearing her mother's past as a teacher, Itsuki decides to become one herself, but is stopped by Shimoda, which is the teacher, telling her that she can become a teacher, but points out that maybe she's doing it because she wants to be like her mother, which references a moment in the past where Itsuki said and assumed the role of the mother after her passing. Which the quote-unquote youngest assuming the role of the eldest really emphasizes how much Itsuki likes to hide her feelings towards harsh circumstances and become stronger from there, which is not wrong at all. Doing that is somewhat of a coping mechanism that if someone in grief does, then yeah. But one big reason why Itsuki decides to be a teacher is because of Futaro. Since Futaro told them to be their own teachers, as in teach each other their stronger suits, Itsuki felt like she could internalize what she's teaching even better, so she wants to treasure those moments and decides to become a teacher. But we're not done speaking about Itsuki's goal in life, baby, since some bitch-ass motherfucker decides to come in one of the last arcs of this series, the festival arc with the quintuplet's biological dad. So to start off, I really don't like this character very much, and you will see why. So, Itsuki meets Mudo-san, which is the name of the dad, and he asks her about becoming a teacher. She responds, of course, but also mentions her mother, so he reveals that he was her homeroom teacher. And this bitch starts saying shit like, following your mother's steps will become your destruction, and other types of shit. So, she combats by saying she herself wants that, but he responds with,
"You have unconsciously convinced yourself of that. That is a curse. Face reality. You yourself are not aligned with your own feelings."
Imagine leaving your wife that just had 5 children at once, by the way, to then come back when she died, see your daughter stressed enough to become a teacher because she still assumes the role of mother, and you say some shit to fucking demotivate her even more? And so that demotivates her tremendously. But wait until he reveals that he's their biological father, haha. Here, Mudo says even more bad shit than before, such as,
"Nakano-kun, huh? That kid was an excellent student, but he's a failure as a father. As expected, parents and children need to be connected by blood. And what did he do for you when your mother died? He let his daughter continue to chase after the shadow of her dead mother. And now she's about to commit to the same misguided path as her mother. You know that you're not cut out to be a school teacher. As your father, I cannot overlook that. My love for you girls is telling me I must not."
You see why I hate him now? Not only he demotivates her little thought of becoming a teacher, he also belittles Maruo's effort in making his biological daughters have a stable home and makes her own daughter conscious that maybe her actions are useless and tells her that she's not cut out. You see my problem? This is not love. Sorry for that. It got a little heated up and I wanted to vent my frustrations. So after that, Itsuki is in the lowest of lows. Her sisters and Futaro find this motherfucker and ask him about what he said to Itsuki, but he evades the question by saying that he's teaching her about the reality of things. I'm really holding back on shitting on this dude. I can't tell you. So Nino and Miku do the best thing by letting Futaro search for Itsuki at their house and let one of the best scenes in this amazing manga happen. There won't always be excellent students. You'll be reminded that there are idiots beyond comprehension in the world. You'll have to bend your own principles to get along with them, and no doubt, getting involved with them will be extremely exhausting. There will be rebellious students as well, but if that ever happens, you have to face them instead of running away. It's a pain. I'm sick and tired of it. You should never become a teacher. But who cares about all that? There's no point listening to ramblings of a stranger. It's your dream, isn't it? No matter what obstacles you face, whether you continue on or give up, that's your choice.
Is it truly my dream? Someone told me before that I simply wanted to be my mother.
Are you an idiot? You look up to your mom, don't you? There's no need to forget that. There's a big difference between aiming for your mom and chasing after her dream, and aiming for a dream and chasing after your mom. If you understand that, aspiring to be like your parent is definitely not a mistake. And after all of this shebang, Itsuki becomes a teacher and solidifies her dream with one final confrontation with her biological father in one of the better scenes in the entire manga. There's something more left of the whole arc, but I'm too lazy to explain the whole arc, so fuck you and read QQ, and if you read it already, reread it. Now, back to you, Mr. Irishman.
And there you have the Itsuki man himself. Now, go subscribe to Kurb because he has yet to put out anything that's not a banger. In conclusion, I believe Itsuki is objectively the best reading quintuplet in the Quintessential Quintuplets for a multitude of reasons. I believe the other 4 to be less than her for just as many, if not more reasons. Personally, if I had to rank the quintuplets on their writing, I'd go Nino in last, and then, although this hurts me greatly, Miku next. And then we have Yasuo at number 3, Ichika at number 2, and Itsuki number 1, by a large margin. Don't fret, all the quins have amazing writing, and are all A-tier girls. It's just that Itsuki is by far and away the best one. And with that, we bring this rather long video to a close. Disagree? Well, let's not forget that I'm always right and you're always wrong. So, who's really right here? No, but seriously, hope you enjoyed today's video. It was really fun writing about the quintuplets, and I really don't think I have any more quintuplet videos for them in the time being. I might think of one to make up, but right now, this will be the last quintuplet video for at least a little while. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in next week's video. Peace. And one last thing, I do have some more footage that I could have put in this video, but I really wanted to get this video out by Christmas of 2021, so maybe a couple months down the line, you might get another video called Itsuki, the addendum of why she's the best quintuplet, because I have more footage that I can put in this video, I just couldn't get it out before Christmas, so yeah.